Are you sick and tired of being the person to swing somebody and shoot first but still getting rolled faster than Snoop Dogg rolls a blunt? Are you sick of feeling like you don't have a chance in a gunfight when you're holding an angle against a Ferrari swinging you? One of the reasons that could be causing these deaths and causing you to struggle in these kind of gunfights is your crosshair placement. In this video, I'm going to give you an in-depth guide in crosshair placement and what tips you can do and drills you can run in your games and help you get on your journey to aiming like the rank that you're trying to aim for, rather than aiming like the average solo queue rank teammate. Now, first of all, before getting to the video, you might be thinking, who is this random geezer I don't know anything about? Does he actually know what he's talking about? And is anything that he's going to say going to be viable and helpful for me to learn and improve at the game? I had a comment on a previous video asking, before I get into the tips, to give some background on me so that you know that my information is trustworthy and that it might actually help you in game. So if you're not interested in hearing this little backstory, there'll be a chapter down below to get straight to tip number 1 if you want to skip to that. However, my name's Forshaw. I'm an ex-competitive Rainbow Six Siege player. I've been playing the game since year 1, season 1. During my time playing, I've played on teams like Conquer, the Newell and Riddle Esports, as well as won some prize money and built up my knowledge and skill base throughout the time playing the game off other players and things that I've learned and picked up as I was playing. So although I've never played at a tier 1 or pro level, I've had teammates that have then went on to go on tier 1 and tier 2 teams where I've been able to pick their brain, and now I want to pass that information on to you and give you some information that you can use to rank up and get better at Siege. Alright, so first of all, I want to get the most basic and widely known tip out the way. If you go to a barricaded door, you'll see there's 2 buckles on the left and the right side. At the top and at the bottom, there's 4 of them in total. The top 2 is actually perfectly in level with head level. If I go right up to it, you'll see basically where my head is where the buckle is. So if you want to find out what head level is, just barricade a door and then you'll have a basis to go off of from there. So good crosshair placement is not just keeping your aim at head level, it's also about using your game sense to know where people will be playing or where people could be playing and keeping your crosshair out at them angles specifically. Because you could have good crosshair placement going around the map at every angle you see. However, these might not be angles people are playing at, and if you get caught off guard by somebody playing at an angle you didn't expect, then this will mean that all the crosshair placement that you've been doing is for nothing, because you're still gonna have to flick to the head when you see them eventually. So instead of relying on that, you have to try and realize where people will play in certain scenarios. To show you an example, if I'm trying to pick officers from Fountain and I know where generally people might be because of my game sense and my map knowledge, I'll know that I need to check this angle in case somebody's jumped in through Archives officer's window. Then I might want to check Suicide, then I might want to check the triple wall, then I might want to check behind this half wall, and then finally the office double door, and then the office double door right side. So instead of that, that's like an example of what it should look like if you know generally where people might be playing. However, if you don't have good crosshair placement, if you don't have this knowledge, your crosshair placement might look more like this, where you're just kind of going around side to side, trying to go faster. Now this is also incorporating the next tip that I'm going to talk to you about, which I'll tell you about after this. Generally, you want to think about where people might be playing. So someone could be holding this angle, like behind this, trying to use this as cover. Someone could be holding this angle. Someone could be holding all these angles. You're going to want to check for these angles when you're swinging. Now there's a lot of angles you have to check for. That's why you do it one at a time. The other thing you need to think about as well when you're clearing things and when you're checking angles is to think about elevation changes within the map. So I know if I'm going to try and clear this main stairs here on board, or the metal stairs, I know that the crosshair head level is going to change. Like for example, if I'm standing here, the crosshair level at 90 will be like head height standing like this. And then you might have a hole there, you might want to peek like that. And then you're going to want to check down the stairs. But the crosshair level, if I keep the same head level and somebody's down at that door, I'm still going to have to flick to them. So when you're going down an angle, like down elevation, you want to change your crosshair placement a little bit lower just to be careful for that. So generally if I'm picking this main stairs, for example, like specifically these main stairs on border, I'll check the customs double door. So I'll keep my crosshair level like around about where that's going to be. Then I'll swing that. Then I'll check the stairs angles and I'll keep my crosshair around about this level here, because you don't know where on the stairs they could be playing. They could be standing right at the top where the crosshair is going to be up here, or they could be standing right down at that double door down there where the crosshair level is going to be round about down there somewhere. So I like to keep it in like a middle ground, like round about like here while I'm swinging it. So I'll check that angle, then I'll swing it like here, and then I know that if someone's up, I can flick that, and if someone's down, I'm going to flick that as well, instead of having it all the way down, where if someone's standing like quite high up the stairs, you're going to have to flick up more. Or if someone's standing all the way at the top and you have your crosshair all the way at the top. No, sorry. If someone stands right at the bottom and you've got your crosshair right at the top, still aiming head level, you're still going to have to flick all the way down. So when you're looking at stairs and elevation changes, if you don't know exactly where they could be, keep a little bit of a middle ground so you know generally like the flick distance is going to have to be less than if you were aiming all the way at the bottom or aiming all the way at the top. Now the next topic I want to talk about is something called slicing the pie. If you don't know what this is usually given as like an aiming tip, where if you're going around rooms and checking, like clearing out rooms, you want to keep your crosshair on the corner that you see. Like on this corner here, if I'm clearing around fountain, I want to keep my crosshair on this corner here. And as I'm going around, I'll keep it on the corner, and I'll check different angles at a time. And keep my crosshair at good points for where their players might play if they're on that angle that I'm looking at. So let's give clearing fountain an example here. As an example here. So if I'm clearing fountain, I'm going to have my crosshair at head height here. And I'm going to check the archives door, check both sides of it. Then I'm going to check this corner here. Then I'm going to keep going around, check out any holes. Keep it at head height, keep it at head height. Now there's this like box thing here where someone could be standing on top of that, where if they are, their crosshair level, their head level is going to change. So for that, you want to reflect that with your crosshair placement as well. So I know that if I'm checking that now, I need to aim a bit higher, where if someone's standing on there, I'll be able to get a headshot on them quite easy. And then I want to clear the next angle and the next angle, like that. So that's how you slice the pie. You check one angle at a time. This does two things. It isolates 1v1s, so you only have to fight one person at a time if there's multiple people in the room, unless they're doing like the totem pole strat where one person prones and one person stands up on top of each other. But it also as well will mean that because you're checking the angle one by one and your crosshair placement's on the head, like where the head will be if they're standing at that angle, your crosshair placement will be perfect for that player. And all you'll have to do is just micro adjust a tiny bit instead of having to go like, check this, okay, shit, now I need to swing. Instead of having to do all that, you can just have your crosshair placement ready and just be like, okay, dead. Pick one angle at a time. And hopefully when you do this, if you're slicing the pie, it'll give you a 1-up on the enemies because you're already aiming where their head will be. Now, granted, they're probably aiming at where you're coming from as well, but it gives you that fair fight rather than you having to flick to them when they're already aiming at where you're going to be. So how would you go about practicing your crosshair placement and slicing the pie? Right now, I'm in a target drill against bots on border, as you can see. So what I'll do is I'll pick a place, I'll go down on the floor where all the bots are, and I'll just get ready and start slicing the pie on each angle I can when I go past. So as you can see, I'm just like going past each angle, checking each angle. Now again, that person was crouched, so the crouch crosshair placement would have to be in place. Like I would have to lower my crosshair to be at the crouch level, and as you can see, I had to flick down because he was crouched in there. But you want to keep going, checking each angle where you can. Probably should have aimed at the boost spot there, but so you just want to go around in a like target drill game. For about 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want to do it for too long because you'll get bored and it'll like end up being wasted practice. Generally when you're doing this, if you're going around doing this drill, trying to keep your crosshair head level and slicing the pie, you want to do this for around 5 to 10 minutes. You don't need to do it for that long, and if you do it for too long and you start getting bored, you're going to start like slacking, and you're going to start developing some bad habits that you don't want to bring into actual games with you. So you want to do it for a little bit, just not enough to get like bored, but enough to get like comfortable doing it. And just generally trying to keep your angle on the crosshair, keep your crosshair on the corners like of each wall when you're going past them. So whatever's the closest bit of cover to you, or whatever's the closest, like the cover that's in front of you, you want to keep your crosshair on like the corner of it while you're swinging around. So that, like that corner was this, and then it's changed to that as I got around it. So you want to keep doing that as much as you can going around the map. So there's one downside to doing this like drill, and that's the bots don't move and the bots don't really do damage to you. So what you want to do after you've done this for a little bit and you're comfortable with it is you want to head into a death match, into a free-for-all, and then you want to go around doing the same thing, doing the crosshair placement, like keeping your crosshair head level for where people will be, thinking about elevation changes, thinking about boost spot, and also thinking about slicing the pie while you do it, keeping your crosshair on the corner where you can. Now the next topic I want to talk about to do with crosshair placement is your reaction time has an effect on your crosshair placement and where your crosshair should be. Now if I'm holding this angle on defense, and I know somebody's going to swing from that left side there, I should hold it like as tight as I can to the corner. However, if somebody wide swings this, my reaction time is not good enough to hit that shot right when they like cross the angle, and I don't think anybody's is. So when you're holding angles, think about your reaction time and move your crosshair out a little bit based on what that reaction time is. So if you have a slower reaction time, you want to move it out a little bit further, just so that when you see them cross, you don't need to like follow them and then shoot them, because that's basically like removing the factor of like good crosshair placement, because you still need to follow them and try and move your aim. Whereas if I'm just holding it like this, if someone wide swings that, they're literally in my crosshair and I can just shoot them. But generally I hold mine around about here based on my reaction time, but yours might be a bit different because everybody's reaction time is going to be different. To add to that point as well is that you need to think about what the enemy is going to do, like how they're going to swing the angle. So as the enemy in this situation, they could do two kind of peaks right now. They could either wide swing into the angle like that, which is like a fast peak, or they could just kind of like try and get into it like perfectly like that, where what that means for your crosshair placement is that you need to kind of think about how they're going to peak that angle. If they're going to wide swing it, then you want to hold it like further out like that, or if they're going to just peak perfectly onto the angle, then you want to hold it a little bit closer. Now, if you're unsure of where to hold it, like if they're gonna, you're unsure if they're gonna wide swing or if they're gonna slow swing or if they're gonna like close swing or whatever, then you're gonna want to have a middle ground again, because you don't know which way they're gonna do it. If you don't have that information on how this player has been playing specifically, then you're gonna want to hold it in like a middle ground where that if they swing close, you can move there. If they swing far, you can move there. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is, in general, when you're playing actual ranked games or actual like standard games, whatever you want to play and whatever you want to keep your crosshair good at, you need to actively work on keeping your crosshair at head level at every angle that you peek, and every time you hold an angle, every time you swing an angle, you need to keep your crosshair at head level and keep reminding yourself as you peek. So let's say I want to swing this the like waiting double door there. Before I swing that angle, I'm going to think, is my crosshair at head level right now? No, so I need to lift it up. Now I'm thinking, okay, now I'm ready to swing the angle, and I'm at head level and I'm ready to get a kill. You need to actively do this until it becomes a subconscious thing. You can't just practice in a deathmatch or in a custom game for like 5-10 minutes and then you instantly got perfect crosshair placement forever after that. No, every day before you get on, then you need to do a little bit of warming up to practice it. And then after you've practiced it a little bit warming up, then you want to head into a real game, but actively think about it while you're playing. And then after a while, after like maybe 10 to 20 hours of like actual in-game time doing this, then it'll start becoming more subconscious and a little bit easier to and a little bit less weight off your brain while you so you don't have to think about it every time. It should already get to that point where you're like, okay, crosshair head level, then swing. It should become like a subconscious decision, not something that you have to like keep telling yourself. But for the first couple of weeks, or maybe even months, it depends how long it takes you to learn things, then you want to keep reminding yourself, okay, head level, crosshair head level. Also as well, you might want to get into the habit, if you play with people like the same people over and over again, if their crosshair placement's a little bit off, you might want to correct them a little bit, just so they get into the habit as well. And then if you keep correcting them, they might start correcting you as well, which means that like you're both helping each other to grow and to improve as players. So to summarize this video, I've given you 3 drills that you need to complete and that you need to try, practice and do to get better crosshair placement. The first one is the bot training method, 5 to 10 minutes going around, keeping your crosshair head level, slicing the pie, checking every angle that people could be at. The second drill is the deathmatch method, which is basically the same thing, but in deathmatch where you're fighting against real people. That'll have real player movement, that'll like quick peek, that'll move around, that'll lean. So just keep that in mind, keep your crosshair head level and go through a couple of death matches. I recommend 3 to 5 death matches. You don't want to do it for too long. I recommend 1 to 3 death matches. You don't want to do it for too long, because just like the bot trainer method, it might get boring. You might start getting tilted, and at that point you're not going to be practicing. You're going to be playing like out of rage and out of tilt, and you're not going to be like learning. You're going to be developing bad habits as you go. The third drill and final drill is the real match method, and this is actively thinking about your crosshair placement as you're in real matches and as you're in games, as you're in ranked, as you're in casual, as you're in standard. Just keep your crosshair at head level and actively think before you peek angles. Is my crosshair right? Is my crosshair at head level? Is this player going to be crouching? Is my crosshair at crouch level? Things like that you need to think about and actively do for a little while until it becomes self-conscious. So this video took a while for me to make. If you enjoyed, please drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.